The following show is intended for an adult audience. We may use explicit language or discuss mature themes. Monkey Boy may appear asleep or as though he has died, but don't worry, it's just because his eyelids sag like an old scrotum.
Whoa! Whoa! Yes, thank you, fake applause. Thank you. Good evening, hello, and welcome all to the live and moderately entertaining stream.
Hello.
We hope you're all doing well and that you're not too upset by the fact that you're missing Eurovision to be here. You know.
Oh no! Is it Eurovision tonight then?
It is Eurovision tonight. I mean, we're not going to win it, are we? I did see the act. Carla showed me the act earlier. I was like, okay, that's a thing. That's music, okay, apparently. So we'll go with that. But what can you do? What can you do, Monkey Boy?
I haven't actually heard it. I haven't heard any of the Eurovision, but then I wouldn't because I don't watch TV or really take in any kind of current events. Oh. Sorry.
Oh, have you created a permanent echo? Is that what you've done?
I forgot to put the Do Not Disturb on my tablet.
Oh, I see. That's all right. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. I make loads of mistakes.
I've got my tablet here so that I can see the comments if necessary. Although without my glasses, I can barely see my hand in front of my face. So anyway,
you're looking like you've had a bit of a tidy up. What's this?
Yeah, I had a bit of a number one to the face today. I thought I was getting a little. I mean, I look like a tramp anyway, but it was getting a bit much. So I did a number one to the face. I washed my hair especially though. Look, yay!
It is magnificent hair. I feel like I just want to reach into the screen and stroke your hair. Magnificent stuff. But you, for once, we haven't actually spoke a lot this week. We sort of, how's your week been? Has it been good? What have you been up to?
Not a great deal. I've been doing some landscaping and stuff for an elderly friend in her garden. So that's been keeping me sort of outside and busy for a couple of days. So yeah, it's been a reasonable weekend. The weather's been good. Anything else happened this week? We've got a couple more figures that I'd pre-ordered. They arrived yesterday, so they'll be on the channel tomorrow. Very pleased to receive those.
Excellent.
How's your week been? What have you been up to?
I've been just destroying stuff and rebuilding it. Sort of the nature of my job. I smash, then I rebuild.
I see your environment appears to have changed since the last stream.
Yes, it has.
What's going on there?
Right, so I have actually, because I thought this would probably come up, because normally I'm sat with a TARDIS behind me, aren't I? A big blue TARDIS.
Yep. Normally.
Big blue Doctor
Are you
Who
in the
TARDIS, right?
Oh, you're in the TARDIS, aren't you?
I'm not in the TARDIS. I bloody wish it was the TARDIS, because right, I'm going to show you something about my new environment before I show you what I've done. Look at this. I can reach both walls like this. This isn't a big space. Now, the way I see it is I'm essentially in a cupboard, and a broom cupboard at that. And it was good enough for Andy Peters, and it was good enough for Philip Schofield, so it's bloody good enough for me. I just need a Gordon the Gopher. But long and short of it was, it's a real inconvenience having to, every time I do a stream or anything, I would set up on a little camping table in my front room or at the end of my bed. Yeah. And the problem is that meant Carla had to bloody leave the front room, or I couldn't, if I was doing like APC in the day with Kim, that was fine, so I could set up in the bedroom and everything, or happy days. Yeah. But you can't really do that when the boy's next door in bed. It's not very fair to keep kicking Carla out of the front room, so I came up with a little bit of a solution. Okay. And that solution was this. So, you know, every house has got like a crap corner or a crap cupboard or a crap hole, just where you launch stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I had. So on the left there, I mean, I'm ashamed to say it, the mess of it, that's just full of spare toys, my musical equipment, a load of Motorhead stuff. So last Sunday, I got a bit pissed off with all of that. So I basically turned the cupboard into a podcasting space. So
cool.
This is where I am. I haven't decided what I'm going to do behind me yet, but it's not even been a week. But I've got it to this point. So
that's quite a transformation.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I should be on one of those shows, you know, where you go in and in 7 days they change stuff up. It's fine if it's a cupboard. I could do the cupboards. You know, the one that Nick Knowles does on the BBC, where he goes in and they go in and they rebuild, plaster, turn a 1-bedroom house into like a 6-bedroom house in like 7 days.
Oh, okay.
Did you never see that show?
Oh, I'm vaguely aware of it. The name Nick
okay.
Knowles rings a bell. Was it called like changing houses or something, or changing?
I can't remember. If there's anyone in the comments section who's sad enough to have seen that show, please do put it in the description. Now, we're not ignoring you, chat. We are going to get to you because we always say hello to the chat. But this week, before we say hello to you, I kind of want to bring something up that happened with you, and I feel I need to share this with you. Yeah. So,
all right. What happened?
We had a conversation, and I found some things out about you, and it's shocking to me.
Oh dear.
So, I messaged Dave, and somehow we got onto the subject of Rainbow and Bungle, and Dave said he was. I said he was a knobhead, I suspect, and Dave says I want to punch him, and I put in the penis. Dave put right in the face. I responded the penis face. He put yeah in the stupid penis. Worst TV bear ever. And I put, do you like any other bears, like Ewoks? He's like, yeah, I have no problem with any other bears, just Bungle the bleep. Put it this way, the word rhymes with shunt. I didn't realise you had such a hatred for TV royalty that is Bungle. What is going on with that?
I hate
What's Bungle ever done to you?
I mean, nothing directly, but indirectly, he is. I'm absolutely incensed by Bungle. I mean, he hasn't even got proper paws. He's got 5 fingers, like a hand. I mean, that's just for starters. He looks like a twat, and he's a health and safety bore. He's Jeffrey, we can't do that because that'll be dangerous. Oh, stuff it up your. Oh, I hate that bear. I hate him.
What's wrong with the hands? I mean, he's an anthropomorphic bear. He's going to have hands. Yeah,
but let's just put some brown gloves on him. Oh, that'll do. Oh, no, it won't. He's supposed to be a bear. Give him paws. Oh.
Well, I made something for you, and this is just for you.
Wicked Bungle is massive.
Yeah. Wicked. Bungle is massive.
Wicked Bungle is massive.
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh.
I can't get my head around your hatred. But anyway, we really do need to start saying hello to some people in the chat. We really do.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
So, who have we got in this evening? Well, I know that she can't stick the whole show. She's going to try and make it if she can. So we have Vader's Girl come in and say, have a great stream, guys. So, Kat, thank you for popping by and leaving a message and
hello,
all that.
Kat. Hiya.
Hope to see you later on. And another person who couldn't make it because she's in Italy is MSC. She's going to watch it on catch up. So that's...
She's in Italy.
She's in Italy. So I made her this. Siamanci Emma Verdi. My special friend Emma. So yeah, there you go. Just for you, Emma. We made this for you. Let me just show this. We know you couldn't be here and you're sorely missed. So yeah. So yeah, so MSC's missing. I know Vic Squires is on holiday as well. Everyone's on holiday. I don't know what we're doing wrong in our lives. We have the man himself, Gerard O'Connor.
It's Gerard.
Hey, Gerard.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for stopping by, man.
He's been endowed with the power of a spanner.
He's
got mighty now. He's got a wrench. He can take care of business, can Gerard?
We have domination.
We have the lovely Kim Gonick.
Kim,
hey,
those idiots
hello, Kim.
who did not like the last sound.
So I just pressed Kim's soundbite from the last episode. What? That's just bad. Actually, we actually haven't got a decent soundbite for you this week. So just have this. It's all good because what we're going to be talking about is good. So yeah, you got the start of Kim's soundbite that she hated last time, and there's Kim. So yeah, great to see you, Kim. Thanks for popping along.
Thanks, Kim.
Some numpty called Action Popcast. He was having mic issues earlier.
Right.
Every time. We've got Reading Movies. And he says, good evening, guys. Thanks for providing an alternative get out from Eurovision. You are welcome, sir. It's a public service, and that's what we're here for. So,
thanks, man. Good to see you here.
Anytime,
Thanks for joining us.
Anytime. We have Sam's Vintage Repairs coming all the way from the US of A. So, hello, Sam. Thank you for joining us this evening, sir. Good to see you.
Hello.
A little bit earlier for you, I know. Who else have we got? We've already said Reading Movies. We have Delvian Seek.
Delvian, Seek and Destroy.
Yes, we have Delvian. Thank you for coming along. We have Rolando Flores. He says hello. Hello, Rolando. You're always welcome.
Hey, Rolando. What's cracking?
Good. I love his little picture in the corner there. It's like Rolando's head on a baby's body. It's all kinds of disturbing, and I it is what it is. Yeah. We also have, who else do we have? We have the one and only TJC. Terry, good to see you this evening. Hey. Thank you for popping along, sir. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Oh, we have, well, look at these likely lads. Evening, chaps. Luke Reynolds of Reynolds Reviews. How are you, sir? Thank you for popping along. Agent Reynolds is in the house indeed.
He is. How you doing, Luke?
And last but not least, and I will greet anyone else if they come in, we have Jumpy McClunky. Oh, and I think I've missed someone. Oh, and it's not last but not least. I'm not going to miss this guy. We have Baz Dark Lichen. Hello, sir. Hello.
Hey, Baz.
Good to see you, Baz. Let me just check I haven't scooted past anyone else. Oh, no, we're there for now. There's a few more people watching who haven't said hello, so please do say hello if you are in the chat. We'd absolutely love to we'd love to chat to you. But this evening, let me turn off this annoying Europe Better Than Eurovision banner at the bottom because it's actually doing my Swede in. Tonight's episode is called Ghosts, Astonishingly Spooky Hauntings, Monkeyboy. Just give that evil laugh again. Monkeyboy, you are so much better at this than me. Give people a rough idea. I mean, I think the title says it all, but what are we going to be talking about?
It does say it all, really. I mean, we're just going to be talking a little bit about ghosts, the paranormal, things of that nature. We're not going to go sort of deep into everything, and this isn't going to be is it real? Is it not real? This is just going to be a bit of a shallow dive into the world of spooks and spooktacular behaviour.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, I don't normally give, I wouldn't normally give things like this out before we talk. Please do bear in mind, I'm a really open-minded guy, so is Monkeyboys. So we're not trying to piss on anyone's beliefs or anything. So if we cover anything, there's some stuff I'm going into a bit later. I know I'm going to bring up. Look, I'm as open-minded as they come, but I am going to be talking some stuff which might seem as though I'm saying people are nuts. You're not. We've all got our beliefs, and that's awesome because this is stuff even science can't really explain. So with all that said, Monkeyboy, do you want to kick it off? Is there anything you want to start? I mean, I did forget to say one thing. People, sorry, I've just said that to you. In the chat, guys, if you want to post any spooky experiences you've had in the comments, please do. Please do. We are happy to read out any spooky experiences you've had, encounters with ghosts. So I'm going to refer my question back to you, Monkey. Monkey, is there anything you want to start with?
Well, I mean, I don't know really how to start the subject without sort of going in with both feet. But I suppose to take a little bit of a run up to it, there are different trains of thought as to whether ghosts are indeed real, and if so, how they could possibly be real, and how ghosts as a phenomenon can actually be. Now, that there are some theories about this. And I know that you and I have spoken about this before, Nick. Um, what do you think is the main kind of almost scientific explanation
Okay,
for
so
possibly
one
what might be
theory.
going on?
One theory which I came across on the internet, which I've heard before, and to me it sort of makes sense. And I'm going to be referring to my notes here. Is some people believe that strong emotions or events can leave energy imprints in the fabric of buildings and whatnot, and that can manifest as ghosts. And some people are more perceptive of these things. So obviously, great moments of joy, great moments of, if someone's really happy or if someone gets bloody offed or something, that like the strong emotions can bleed into the fabric of walls and people can sense that, and it can leave almost like an imprint, almost like recording on a tape, like, back in the day when we used to record music for the radio. So that's one theory which I came across. There's quite a lot to that. I mean, the thing is with all of this, you have to bear in mind that science today, the big scientific community, they don't really. There are people who focus on this stuff, but it doesn't seem to get the attention that maybe it should or would. Do you know what I mean? It's almost a fringe subject, and because some people think that if you can't explain it with science, it's not real. But then you could argue, if you can't explain it with science, we're just not there yet. We just can't explain it. So if we look at that theory that I just gave you about energies imprinting on stuff, what do you think of that? Do you think that's something semi-scientifically that would make sense?
I mean, it sounds plausible, doesn't it? I mean, everything in the world is made of atoms, and atoms are basically. I mean, this is not. I'm not a scientist, but we're talking about electromagnetism, basically, and I think there is a good argument that strong emotions could possibly imprint on the fabric of our reality. I mean, I would say that it's not necessarily just in buildings. Because there are many sort of ghostly sightings or ghostly happenings in the outside environment as well. Obviously, in woods, in anywhere in the outside. So I'm not sure it necessarily imprint directly onto buildings, but certainly I think that's plausible. I'd be certainly very interested to see any sort of scientific
you could go down such a rabbit hole with this. Just before I go forward, Gerard O'Connor says, I for one believe in the supernatural / paranormal, but think Casper was a fraud. I agree with you. I think Casper's the biggest faker of them all, Gerard. And Kim Gonick says, had too many experiences for me not to think spirits are around. And that's the thing. We've all had experiences. Now, I've had a couple of experiences, but, going back to the point before I read those comments out, we're not like a podcast that deep dives for live and moderately entertaining, right? We're not. We just sort of skim over the subject, we have a chat and whatnot, but you start going down the route of NDEs, near-death experiences, and this is a huge subject with a lot of different beliefs to it. Yeah. And a lot of these things don't have the scientific backup, whether that's because, as I said earlier, they haven't invested the time in it or because they're not able to do it yet. So, there's obviously other theories as well. You go into people's beliefs, spiritualism, the skepticism. Parallel dimensions is one. Some people believe that ghosts are bleeding through from parallel dimensions. So maybe we're all in the age of Marvel now, and parallel universes and the multiverse. Yeah. Now the parallel universe thing, that's a subject for itself, but it's not something that I would. I certainly wouldn't write that theory off. And that's an interesting thing. Maybe it is a bleed through. Maybe that is something. I know where I live. See, this house I live in now was built in approximately 1820. And Jackson, my son, has sat at the top of the stairs before. And when he was younger, and he still has the odd little blip now with things, he used to talk to someone at the top of the stairs. And we used to say to him, who are you talking to, mate? But man with a hat and coat. Because he was young at the time. Wow. Hat like daddy, because I used to wear a flat cap because I was trendy and cool. And anyway, so on chatting to the guy who lived here before me, a couple of people before me, because Carla's sister lived here before us, they left, we took on the tenancy. But the people who lived here before, they did a bit of research because they saw this guy called... They saw this guy and they found out, because where I live is on an old sort of country estate. These are what would be the Grace and Favour cottages if you used to work on the farm, because I live in a really rural farm community. So if you worked for the big manor farm, a lot of people had houses. So my cottage used to be the gamekeepers, the middle one used to be the laundrette, the one on the end used to be the blacksmith. Now, the guy that everyone is explaining and seeing is Keith, the old gamekeeper.
Oh. Jackson
explained him. Mark, the guy who lived here a couple before us, they've got it. And literally the description, that is who Keith was. Wow. That's creepy, man. And you do get some weird vibes in this house. Like, I remember one night when Jackson was really young, I was sat on the sofa. Carla used to work nights, Carla, my wife. And anyway, I just had this sort of real chill, like sort of felt a bit like tense in the house. And I was sat downstairs. I'd put Jackson to bed. He was tiny. And I felt like there was someone in the room with me. So all I said to him is I said, him, her, whoever, I said, if there is a presence here, just bear in mind, do not scare that boy upstairs. It's a child. I spoke to it and like, it's weird. It's almost like the tension in the air went away.
Oh.
So now, have you ever had any experiences like that? It's a bit, we can joke and piss around on these, but that was one that really, that chilled me a bit, man, I don't know if you've had any experiences like that.
Well, I have had a few ghostly experiences. I don't believe I've seen a ghost directly, but I certainly have had some experiences that were quite spooky and did really make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. There's been sort of 3 or 4 occasions where this has happened. When I was in high school, I was house sitting for a woman when she went away on holiday for a couple of weeks, and I would sort of go over there with my friends, and we would sort of just hang out in the evenings and stuff, just to house sit for her, really. And before she left, she said, "Don't worry about the ghosts." And I said, "What?" I sort of laughed and said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And she said, "Oh no, don't worry. But if you hear anything weird, it's the ghosts." And I laughed it off. And then I was sitting in there one evening with a couple of friends of mine. We were watching some movies and having a couple of beers, and all 3 of us heard someone walking along upstairs. A good 7 or 8 footsteps creaking across the landing upstairs. And we all looked at each other and were like, "What the?" And I went straight up there because I was, I love spooky things. I'm the first one at a spooky encounter. I mean, I love
absolutely,
sort of
yeah.
So I went flying up there straight away. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, but it was chilly up there, and this was in the summertime, so it wasn't a cold house, but it did seem a bit colder up there. But that was as far as that went, really. We didn't hear anything else. My friend, because the toilet to the house was upstairs, my friend didn't go to the toilet all night because he daren't go up there. But yeah, that was probably the first kind of experience of something perhaps going on. But it could have just been the house settling. I don't know, but it certainly sounded as if somebody was walking along, because it travelled across the room. It started on one side of the room and went across to the other. We could hear it through the ceiling. So that was quite unusual. But I was a bit disappointed that nothing else happened. There was no pots and pans rattling or any doors opening and shutting or anything like that. So it was a fairly tame experience. Um, I've had a couple of other experiences. One was at a castle in Devon, but I'll get onto that a bit later on,
Hmm.
because that's a bit more of an in-depth story, because there are quite a lot of stories surrounding this particular castle. But one other occasion, which actually turned out to be quite funny, um, was now I'll have to take a bit of a run up to this. About 10 years ago, 8 or 10 years ago, I was friends with this woman who was an ex-glamour model. Now, that might not, that isn't particularly relevant. But anyway, I was in her. I would go to visit her, and I would be in her house quite a bit, and I'd been there a couple of times. And she sort of mentioned that her house was haunted, but I kind of, I just sort of, we didn't talk about it a great deal. I was, oh, okay, and then we sort of moved on. I didn't think much about it. Now, this woman had 2 children, and they would often stay at their dad's house, so they weren't always in the house every weekend. But one evening, I was round there with her, and we were sitting there chatting, and I heard someone come down the stairs, and I heard a giggle. I heard a child's laughter, and I said to her, let's call her Emma, for example. Her name wasn't Emma,
Hmm.
but we'll call her Emma. I said,
Not MSC. I'm just going to stress that
not,
now.
oh yeah, now that's why it was in my mind. So yeah, so I said to her, Emma, I thought you said your kids were at their dad's today. She said, yeah, they are. I said, well, I've just heard. What have I? I've just heard one of them come down the stairs and laugh. She said, no, that always happens. That's the ghosts. And it was
That's
it was
mental.
really, when she said it, because I was so convinced that her kids were mucking about, and it was like very light footsteps running down the stairs, and then a sort of a faint childish sort of giggle. It wasn't loud enough. I don't think Emma even heard it. She probably didn't even pay any attention, but I heard it, and I looked to the door expecting to see a child come round the corner. And when they didn't, that's when I sort of said to her, "What's you've got kids in the house?" And she said, "No, no, they're at their dad's." Um,
That's mental.
Now, and to follow on from that, now, because of the work she used to do, she knew some various different people. Now, she was actually friends with the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Herbie Hyde.
Really? Wow.
Yep, yep,
I
and
don't doubt you. I
uh,
believe you. Just wow.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I'm a
yeah.
big boxing fan. Huge boxing
Well,
fan.
well, you see, Herbie Hyde lives in Norwich. He lives actually not too
Okay.
far away from where I live, actually. And on occasion he would come around. We'd be sitting there, having a drink in the evening, and he would, there'd be a knock at the door, and it'd be Herbie Hyde, and he would come in
That's
and sit down.
mad.
And I know it's bonkers. I
That's
mean,
more mad than the ghost. Like, oh yeah, we're
and
talking ghosts. So it's
maybe,
you just hang out with Herbie Hyde. Yeah, just a
yeah,
normal night.
which is arguably more scary than the ghosts.
I'd be
But
more
I mean,
scared of him, that's for sure.
well, I mean, she had told me that she knew Herbie Hyde and that she was friends with him, but I didn't disbelieve her, but I didn't. I mean, I've got no particular interest in boxing. I didn't really follow it up. I just thought, okay. I mean, she's an ex glamour model. She probably does know quite a few people,
Sure,
because
yeah.
she used to live in London. And anyway, so I mean, the first time he came, this is getting off the subject a bit, but the first time he came round was quite alarming, because she got a text on her phone, and she said, "Oh, Herbie's on his way round." And I thought, really, is this actually happening? And yeah, there was a knock at the door, and in he came, and so yeah, Herbie Hyde was there. But anyway, back onto the subject. Um, this lady Emma, as we'll call her, she said she was laughing. She was talking about Herbie, And she said he's absolutely petrified of ghosts, and he knows my house is haunted. She said, if you want a laugh, next time he's over, mention that you've heard something or something like that. Just sort of mention it to him and see what he does. It'll be hilarious. So okay, fine. So probably a couple of weeks went by, and then one evening I was sitting round there, and Herbie came round, and he texted her before, and she said, remember to wind him up about the ghost. So I said, okay, I will. So Herbie came in, and I left it about 20 minutes, and then I picked my moment, and there was a little gap in the conversation, and then I sort of fake looked up to the ceiling and went, "Did you hear that?" And Herbie's eyes went absolutely wide, and he went, "What? What?" I said, "Did you hear those?" And this was after I'd heard the children giggling, so I'd already experienced this in real life anyway. So I genuinely believed something was going on. And his eyes went absolutely wide, and he stared at me. And he went, what? I said, I just heard someone running about upstairs. And he went, right, that's it, I'm off. And he got up and he ran away.
Like
he didn't hang about.
For these people who don't know, I mean, formidable guy. You know, yeah. Oh man, that's great. Look, before, see, I would have been sod the ghost. How are you fanboyed for VTR Dave? I'd have been fanboying at Herbie Hyde, mate.
Sure. I mean? Yeah, no. I mean, it didn't really occur to me.
If you don't know, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Why would it be? Look, man, do you mind if I have a quick catch up through the comments? Because a lot of people have put some comments in, and I don't want. We're not ignoring you this evening, but this evening there's going to be a lot of stories, so we will get to you.
Okay, but, let's see what people are saying.
Gerald O'Connor says spirits that haven't passed over for whatever reason. So he must be saying what he believes ghosts to be, or a theory for ghosts. Sam's Vintage Repairs says supposedly the house I used to live in back in WV was haunted. My parents and my grandma swear they have seen humanoid shadowy figures at times. It's a 1910s to 1930s home or thereabouts. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. I love all our American cousins. Lots of American friends, but when they say like old houses, I'm like 1910s. That's not old in the UK. Some houses, but no, that's crazy stuff.
He's talking about somewhere in West Virginia, I assume.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I couldn't work out the abbreviation. So, Sam, feel free to put in the comments exactly where you mean. Just bear in mind, us English guys don't know the abbreviations. If it's we're just not that good. Gerard O'Connor says, also, I see dead people reading movies puts psychological phenomenon likely, but if a ghost have a scientific basis, it will be linked to quantum physics, perhaps. Well, there's a very good theory there.
Yeah.
Who have we got? Kim Gonick says the Dracula's castle was based off Slains Castle in Scotland. I'd heard that before, but yes, no, very cool. Gerard O'Connor says the whole orb thing I think is nonsense. So orbs. I did a bit of reading on this. I've come across this before. Orbs are like the little like light spheres you see in like photos and that. I've seen stuff on this where people were literally like, it's literally bits of dust caught, like, and that's one thing. But some people believe that they are the like the soul of people, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't think I don't necessarily believe that, but I will touch on orbs a bit later on, because I've got an experience of orbs.
Okie dokie. No, great. I don't want to go too deep into that, and if you've got a bit for that later on, as you say. Sam again says, on the lines of reincarnation, my mum says I once claimed to have been a grandpa in a past life, but I have no recollection of this event. I don't personally believe this stuff, but it is interesting. Yeah, I haven't covered anything on reincarnation, but man, that's a rabbit hole to go down. Past life and people doing past life regressions and stuff. Yeah. So that's incredibly interesting. What does Kim Gonick say? I've walked our old railway line and had a couple of times seen a man walking in front of me, mid-1800s attire. That's spooky. Jumpy McClunky says, I worked in a big warehouse type building, open plan. I was in the area, no one else was working. On my own, felt like someone grabbed my shoulder, quickly turned around and there was nobody there.
Wow. Actual physical contact. Cool.
Physical contact, indeed. That would make me poo my pants.
Oh, I'd love that.
Jumpy continues with, easy explanation for me could have been twitchy nerves, but it just seemed more than that. Gerald O'Connor has a comment saying they must be searching for something, some closure, but certainly that is one of the theories of ghosts. They're people here with unfinished business. That's heavily been touched upon by films and what have you. Let me just see what Kim says here. Have to remember they have now proved that people suffer from inherited trauma, which can come from a family or past lives, which can also leave energy markings. Oh, that's interesting. I'm just scanning through now. Gerard says, saying I've heard throughout my life, there's somebody walking atop your grave when you get a shiver up your spine. Anyone familiar with this? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you go, someone goes, oh, just walked over me grave. Like, do you know what I mean? Let me just. I'm also trying to read comments before I just bring them up. Gerard says, I have a friend named Damien. Bizarrely enough, a few years back, he penned and had published a book telling of the haunting home he resides in. He was convinced he was going crazy. I'm just going to jump past a few. They're all relevant. We really don't want to ignore you. ACYR. Or ACR, however you say your name, sir. My apologies. Thank you for joining the chat. Good to see you this evening. Oh, yeah. Amazing. Do you want me to read this comment out?
Yeah, read it.
Right, so this guy says, you guys look like homosexuals, mate. You look like string beans, very thin, pale, possibly on a substance. I didn't read that, but well, I can tell you something now, Mush, right? I ain't slim. Monkeyboy's a bit slim, but if you've come mate, if you've come in to troll, be our guest. I mean, I'm sure the mods will kick you out, but you ain't going to hurt our feelings, so off your pop and watch some Eurovision. Oh, amazing. And he goes on again to say, these two look like homosexuals. Really? I didn't realise there was a look for homosexuals. But
I didn't.
I didn't. What's to say we're not? How do you know we're not? I mean, I've mentioned my wife and kid, but what's to say that me and Monkeyboy aren't homosexuals? Did you say words on the internet thinking that you'd upset us and get us all offended? Oh no.
Please don't call me a homosexual.
Don't call me a bad name. I'm so hurt by your words.
It wouldn't be the first time that someone said that I look like I'm on something. No, I can assure you I'm not. I can assure you I'm not.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't care if I was homosexual. So, you know, it's 2024, mate. So I welcomed you to the chat. I mean, if you want to stay in, I mean, mods, get him out of here. I mean, clearly, this is a guy who hasn't been laid in a very, very long time. So off you go and watch your anime porn. Off you pop. Off you pop. Go on. Go, that is amazing. Thank you. You've given me such a giggle. Off you pop. Like, mate, I bet.
I mean, he's right. I am a string bean. He's right about that.
I mean, you and me could not be more different body types, could we? I mean, I'm literally short and squat and like quite built, and you are tall and skinny. So
you're the bear in this relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm proud to be. So. Oh, I said some words on the internet because I'm really scary and I say things thinking they're going to upset people. Oh. Knobhead. Amazing. Oh, we got our first troll. I'll tell you what, if how did they get that? We deleted it. Well, what happened is StreamYard came in, but I'm glad StreamYard did bring it in, because any trolls who want to say crap, do you think me and Monkeyboy are worried? like literally, you are coming at the wrong two people. Like, we don't care.
I worked in a psychiatric intensive care unit. There's nothing anyone can say to me that I haven't heard before.
And I work in the building trade, so I have heard plenty of bants through my time, and nothing you could say is ever going to offend me. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Brilliant. If only he had a name we could pronounce. Never mind.
Yeah, a name we could pronounce. I mean, I don't know. He's probably going to go, like, say, watch his anime porn, go and phone his mum up, really upset because his friends wouldn't play with him. You know, Mummy, my friends didn't want to play with me today, so I went on the internet and was rude to a couple of strangers. Amazing. Gerard O'Connor says, what a loser. Oh, well, yeah, he was, but it gave me and Monkey Boy a chuckle. We loved it. We absolutely loved it. G-Force Racing has joined us. Hey, APD and Monkey Boy. G-Force.
Hey, G-Force. Hey,
thank you for joining us. Kim says, we did delete his messages, by the by. Yeah, no, you did, absolutely. See, it popped through on StreamYard, so I'm trying to... But it's fine. Mod, you're doing a great job. It's nothing you did. Unfortunately, when you delete on YouTube, it doesn't delete on StreamYard. So, and I can't have YouTube and StreamYard open because it creates like a weird thing. But it's fine. No, you guys are doing a great job, and thank you for doing what you do. But I'm Monkey Boy. I wouldn't have it any other way that we read that comment out, would you?
No, not at all. No, absolutely fine. Well, you haven't made it until you've had your first troll, so that, yeah, it's good.
It's good. Normally sex bots, but we got a proper troll.
Yeah.
Jumping McClunky responds to that. You'll consent in the comment. We'll move past older knobhead now. Kim puts, to be honest, Dave's eyes are pretty wide for once in this stream. You're just getting ripped on left, right.
Excellent.
We've got Scream V or Scream 7.
Hey, hello, Scream.
When you call me Scream V, it reminds me of my favourite Scream V. Neve Campbell, the tastiest V I've ever had. And we have Sam saying, I was away for a minute, so I just went back. What have I missed? WV. The chat up, Sam. I'll invite you in afterwards for a chat. We just had a great little chat with a troll, and he hurt our feelings.
Yeah, we were all upset. He made us cry.
He called us homosexuals. Like,
no, don't call me that. No.
How is just the last thing I said? How is homosexual an insult?
I don't know.
Like literally, how is that an insult?
I mean, no. Maybe he was just trying to spit facts. You know, maybe I do look homosexual. I certainly am a string bean, and I do look like I'm on substances.
So, turn your ring light up so people can see just how. Earlier, people have got to see this. On the subject of looking spooky and haunting, you got to see this. Oh, he looks dead, doesn't he? Oh, he's dead. Dave's died.
Turn that down a bit again.
So yeah. I've got some slides. You've got a slide. Do you want to go first as we carry on with the subject? Now we've dealt with our first troll. We've been in the depths with the troll.
No, you go next because I just told my Herbie Hyde story. So I'll leave my other one until a little bit later.
Amazing. I will do that. I just need to go find where I put my slides. Right.
Unless you're going to take us off the topic of experiences.
Well, I was gonna go into next. We've had experiences, and I'll continue to touch back on people's ghostly experiences throughout. I think there's something, if anyone wants to post any more, I'm absolutely happy to bring those up. I can't bring this slide up until I bring up this comment from G-Force, though. Monkey Boy somewhat resembles Iggy Pop. Yes, he's got a lust for life. Anyway.
Well, see, now I've had a shave, I don't quite get the Jesus comparisons quite as often.
Have you got the six pack of Iggy Pop's like ripped, man?
I used to have, yeah. I used to, not anymore. No, I'm skinny fat now. I've got a bit of a belly on me. But I certainly used to when I was younger, yeah.
Oh man. I've always been a bit chunky, me. So something I wanted to touch in on, and again to what I said at the start of the stream about beliefs and that. Cold reading. When people go and see mediums and stuff to speak to the dead. Now, I am not saying that people do not. I'm not saying there's not genuine people out there who can do this. We don't know. The science is lackluster at best to say either way. Let's be fair, right? And the only thing I will say is about 11 years ago, me and Carla, we went to Las Vegas and we went and saw Penn and Teller. Fantastic. I've loved Penn and Teller since I was a kid. I absolutely love Penn and Teller. And the best thing is if you go and see Penn and Teller, going a bit off track, if you go and watch their show, they always come out at the end and interact with the crowd, shake hands, sign autographs, whatever. They are really nice people. And Penn is huge. He is massive. And Teller is tiny. And he does speak when he's there with the crowd. But not to ruin the illusion. Anyway, so they said to us when we were there, I can't remember the full details of the trip. They said, look, we want to talk a bit about cold reading. When people go and see mediums, when people go and speak to spiritual people to contact their dead relatives, Penn and Teller said, because it's important to note here, Penn Jillette is a complete atheist. He is on the record as this. He spoke on many podcasts, TV shows. He very much is. He believes that one life goes like blowing a candle out. That's his belief, right? And that's absolutely fine. But they were speaking to us as an audience, and this is just, it's not word for word, obviously, but they were saying that basically they were going to do a trick, and they told us they were going to fool us, and they told us they were going to lie to us, but they said, we're going to do a trick now that involves a book. Because what we don't want to do, because they basically said they felt it was unethical to pull up someone from the crowd and do a cold reading on them and supposedly contact someone from the dead. They did not believe that was a good thing to do to people. Because they believe that everyone who does this is an absolute fraud. So he did this trick with this book where they got this guy to pick a thing. Anyway, I couldn't find this particular trick on YouTube. But so it's a bit brief, the details, I appreciate. But basically, they made it look like they had psychic abilities by the end of the trick. Now, before the trick, they told us, we are fraudsters, we are lying to you, this is a trick. And these are the same techniques that people use when you go and see a medium, right? And at the end, they said the same. So after I watched that, I was like, wow, that is quite crazy, really. So it's interesting to see magicians sort of say, these people, professional people, they can cold read people. As far as they're concerned, cold reading, when someone goes and sees someone to speak to their dead relatives or whatever, or they go and see a medium, as far as they're concerned, it's all a scam, right? Okay. Right. So, but interestingly, on doing the research on this, I come across a video from it's Durham Brown there, isn't it? I always want to say Durham Miller, the lead singer of CKY for some reason, but it's Durham Brown.
It's Durham
anyway,
Brown,
yeah. So Durham Brown, he did a similar trick, and he said, look, he said to these people again, he said at the start of it, not to the people, but he said to the camera and speaking to the people watching the show, that he wasn't going to do a cold reading on people to contact the dead. Again, he felt that was wrong to do because he'd be fooling people, and sometimes it does not matter how many times you tell people that it is a trick, they will still believe it. And he feels that's wrong to do because he's manipulating the situation. So that's his moral code. Yeah. So he got everyone there to pop a personal item in an envelope. He took them away and he told them he was going to analyse these items, get a feel for the people from the energy of these items, and then present them with a write-up on who these people were. Anyway, all comes together. They did it in 2 or 3 different countries. Hands all these things out, and everyone at the end, he says, right, get your thing, pass it to the next person. If you get yours back again, just pass them around again. And they're, oh yeah, and they all passed it around. Because what he did was he presented them with a write-up on their personality and who they were, but he gave everyone the same one. Everyone got the same write-up. Now, what was interesting from it was most people saying, yeah, 80, 90% accurate. One girl even said, but it doesn't matter about the other 20% because 80% of it was right. And she almost still seemed convinced that it was right, even though he was stood there saying, no, this is a trick. This is a trick. And this is the thing. So I'm not saying that there's not people out there who can speak to the dead, but these are a couple of things I've seen that make me question if everyone is genuine. I mean, Dave, have you ever been to see a medium, or has anyone you know ever been to? My sister and her other half goes to them a lot.
Oh, okay.
And they've invited me and Carla, but as I've said, it's not my thing. Not my thing.
Right. Right. I've never. I don't think I've ever. No, I've never been to see a medium. One of my ex-girlfriends did go to see a medium, and was quite impressed with some of the things that she heard. And this, I do think that cold reading has got a lot. That is a good explanation for a lot of these things, but where I do sometimes think there might be something to it is if they make predictions that then come true that are quite specific. Now,
Absolutely.
so I'm not impressed by the cold reading stuff because again that there are books on it, there are videos on it. You can learn to do it yourself. It's not really that difficult, really, once you know how to do it. But one of my ex-girlfriends had been to see a medium, and she had it all recorded on tape because the session was recorded. So it was about half an hour, 40 minutes of stuff recorded, and most of it, because I listened to the tape back. And most of it, I was sort of inside. I was thinking, yeah, that's cold reading. Yeah, that's cold reading. But she made a couple of predictions that at the time we had no idea about, but they were quite specific things. One of them was involving a car accident, which again you could say to someone, "Oh, you're going to have a car accident," and okay, chances are they're going to, because a lot of people have car accidents. But it was quite a specific thing that she said. And the color of the cars that were involved, and this came to pass. It actually happened. So yeah, that was quite alarming because it was several months. It was a good 6 months or so before this happened. And the lady told her that this was going to happen to her. So that was a bit of a spooky moment. But aside from that, I don't really have much. I don't think they're that credible, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you hear the story you've just told where someone says something really specific, I just want to say here, I'm not, as I think I've already said, I'm not saying there aren't people out there that can do it, but I'm not surprised that there are people out there who can do the things Penn and Teller do and Derren Brown do and abuse the situation. And that is where, to me, like, for instance, my brother-in-law lost his father just over a year ago. That's one of the reasons he went. Now, I hope that the person is genuine, because I would hate to think that someone would be manipulating someone in that time of their life when they're going through that. And that's, for me, where it's not cool. I just want to quickly say as well, though, hello to Universal Toy Collector Stu. Hello, sir. He says, supernatural stuff scares the crap out of me. I did bring up one of his other comments. He said, I went to see a medium once. Well, she was more of an XXL if you ask me. So, fair enough. Fair enough. I had an uncle once who wrote a book on poltergeist, actually. Flew off the shelves. Hey. There we go. If we're gonna go down the dad joke route. But Kim's put a comment in. She says, I think people will go see mediums, etc. It's not always because they believe in it, but can sometimes help people cut out all the noise in life and have a bit more focus, confidence and closure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And G says, he's put a couple of things in. My last flat in New York, an old man died in the garage. I was throwing darts and felt a cold shiver through my back. Pics of animals were always blurry, like something passed in front of the camera. That's spooky. And he also put this, which was a bit before what I did. asked about face, I do not know. He says, my parents say they were driving at 60 mile per hour, a bright light from the sky, and everything stopped. Radio, car, time, everything. Light went past, everything instantly back to normal. That's weird. I'd say that's more for me. That's more down the alien route for me.
Yeah,
which is so. That's sort of what I wanted to say on that, which leads me to another slide, if you do not mind, sir, for me to bring up. Now,
go for it.
I've just got to make sure I bring up the right one. So there we go. So in the UK, we had a TV show called Most Haunted. I believe it ran for something like 17 seasons, or series as we call it in the UK, presented by Yvette Fielding. And it's basically a team of ghost hunters would go around these haunted houses and get the chills. And there was lots of like Blair Witch style running, camera shaking, and all this stuff. But I think in 17 seasons, we never actually saw a ghost on camera, right?
Yeah.
So I found that interesting. But this was a massive phenomenon in the UK. People bloody loved this show. It was really, really popular. And I'm not saying they didn't go places that were haunted. Maybe our equipment just actually can't capture it. I don't know. But and the other person on this slide is Derek Acora. Now, he was a famed medium in this country. He was very popular. I believe there may have been a bit of controversy towards the end of his career. Not going into it. If there was. Anyway, he passed away in January 04/01 2020. See, sorry for our American cousins, we do the date slightly differently to you. We reverse the numbers the other way round. So the 4th of January 2020 he passed away. But what I find interesting about Derek Acora, and I'm not saying he didn't have abilities, we don't really know. Although I did read some stuff where people out there said that they'd seen that he'd faked stuff, but there's always going to be people who say that. Who knows either way. And I think that was the stuff towards the end of some of the stuff towards the end of his career. Although I said I wasn't going to, people saying he'd fake stuff. Could be wrong. The internet isn't always reliable for research. That's why I don't really want to go into it, because I couldn't find anything specific. Anyway, but Derek Acora, Derek, mate, if you can hear us, please come and scare the ever-living shit out of me right now and say hello, because if there's anyone who can come back and confirm it, Derek, it is you, sir. It is you, sir.
I mean, you'd think he'd be a shoo-in, wouldn't he? He really would be.
100%. He would be the guy. So Derek, I don't want to invite you into my house like a vampire, but, you know, or go scare the shit out of Monkey Boy. I'm not fussed.
Yeah. Come round here, mate. Come round here. I love all that sort of stuff. I love being scared. I get a real thrill out of being scared. So, yeah, Derek, come and see me, mate.
Go and see Monkey Boy. Anyways, bring us both back big on the screen. I just want to touch on a couple more comments. I don't think I've said hello to this person already, but if I have, you get 2 hellos. Soda Cauldron, hello.
Hey, Soda.
He says, do they not just make Barnum statements until they get a hit?
Yeah.
And if you watch the Durham Brown thing, I haven't linked after the show, probably tomorrow, I'll go and link that particular video in the description. And something else I want to say before I forget, because I will forget. If you want to listen to some spooky music tonight behind us, a little bit of music in the backdrop, in the video description, there's a spooky playlist I've put together, a live and moderately entertaining one. So if you want a bit of background music, go check it out. I basically just songs that had ghost and spooky in it, because that's as much effort as I went to. But yeah, please do.
Have you got the Monster Mash in?
Haven't got the Monster Mash. I've got Ghost Town. I've got some Metallica songs in there. I've got the Stranger Things theme. Don't leave the stream, but if you can sort of look it up while watching, and you can play a bit of music in the background as you go, please feel free, because we can't play music without getting copyright struck. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. So, or if you just want to listen on your drive to work tomorrow or Monday. I just G-Force has put another comment saying a buddy's house was part of the Underground Railroad and had tunnels in the back fireplaces, and a little boy would appear in his room at night. I would not stay at his house. Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay at his house either if that was going on, to be honest. Although I kind of want to see. For me, I really do want to see it. I really want to absolutely see that ghost, because then it's kind of like I've had weird sort of vibes and everything, but I've not seen anything as such, so that's why I wouldn't mind seeing it. I just know I really do talk with my hands, don't I? Scream V or Scream 7 posts a question. Spooky question for you both. Which Ghostbuster film have you seen, and have you seen Frozen Empire? Which sorry, I'll read that again. Spooky question for you both. Which Ghostbuster film? He's asking which is our favourite, and have we seen Frozen Empire? I have seen every Ghostbuster film, including Frozen Empire. And controversially here, it's not a better film, but the first film I saw as a kid was actually Ghostbusters 2. So although, yes, Ghostbusters is the better film, there's something in the nostalgia of Ghostbusters 2 which I love. And I don't think Ghostbusters 2 is as bad a film as people say.
No, I've got a lot of time for Ghostbusters 2. I mean, I like the first one, obviously, but Ghostbusters 2 is good. When I was not very well, I put Ghostbusters 2 on repeat, so I must have watched it, like 3 or 4 times a day for 2 or 3 days. I just had it playing in the background. For some reason, it was just, I found it not comforting, but it was familiar, and so I just had it playing on repeat. So I really like Ghostbusters 2, but obviously the first one is where it's at. And no, I haven't seen Frozen Empire yet.
So for me, I've seen Afterlife, which I thought was an all right film. Frozen Empire, for me, it wasn't a bad film, but it just felt like nothing happened, everything happened, then it ended. That's all I say. It's what I call Doctor Who writing syndrome, where like the episode goes on for ages, then suddenly it just all wraps up in the last few minutes rather than pacing the action. That's what I felt for me. But that's just my view. But I don't think it was a bad film, and I would watch it again. So, and I have watched it again. To be fair, I've watched it twice. So, it is what it is. But before now that I could go into, I've got some notes on some films, popular films in this sort of sphere of ghost films that we're all aware of. Or do you, before I go into that, do you want to go into anything else, Monkey Boy?
Yeah, well, I'll speak a little bit about another experience I've had and a place that I'm quite familiar with. And I believe you've got some slides to help assist with that.
I absolutely have. Shall I bring it up now, sir?
In a second.
So
basically, I used to live in South Devon. Now, there is a place between Paynton and Totnes in Devon called Berry Pomeroy. Now, Berry Pomeroy has a castle, and it is widely recognised by those who believe in such things as being one of the most haunted locations in the United Kingdom. A lot of places claim to be the most haunted place, but Berry Pomeroy Castle really does have a very long and detailed history of supernatural experiences, occurrences, people seeing things, hearing things. If you want to bring the slide up, on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see the front of Berry Pomeroy Castle. That's the gatehouse, or the main entrance to the castle. Now, it was a 15th century building. Now, I won't go into the history of it all completely because this isn't a history live stream, but just to say that it had quite a colourful history, and has resulted in uh, what is reported to be several different hauntings, several different ghosts that have been sort of seen or heard in and around the castle. Now, interestingly, about 80% of the reportings of spookiness have been reported in the daytime. The occurrences have been in the daytime, and people have seen things in broad daylight. So it's not kind of, just at night people thought they saw a weird shadow. This is things that have happened while there've been people about, several witnesses. There are, if you look on Google at Berry Pomeroy ghosts, there are numerous photographs, anecdotes, testimonies from people that have seen or heard things there. There are at least 4 different types of, or 4 different ghosts that have been seen there and or heard there. The first is, well, in no particular, well, I say in no particular order. I guess I'll put them in order of least frightening to most frightening. There have been children seen and heard running about there, ghostly children, both inside and in the grounds of the castle. Not particularly scary, and people haven't been particularly frightened by them. There are also reportedly the ghosts of 2 Cavalier brothers. I guess they were part of the Pomeroy family. Now, apparently, the castle was attacked at some point in the past, and these 2 brothers, rather than be captured or taken prisoner and or killed by the invading forces, the story is that they got on their horses and they rode the horses up to the top of the ramparts of the castle and spurred their horses over the edge and fell to their death. And there are several reports of people hearing galloping horses when they've been visiting the castle. There is a photograph which I neglected to send over to Nick, but there is a photograph taken by someone, and you can see what appears to be the apparition of a horse and rider in the background. And they say that they didn't see it at the time. It was only when they got the film developed, or looked at the film later, that they saw the apparition. Now there have also been lights that have been seen in the windows at night, and some of the windows are not accessible by foot, because there's no floor or anything, so there would be no way for someone to get up there with a torch, for example. There have been shrieks and screams heard in the castle in the daytime and at night time. Sort of these disembodied, quite loud and unsettling screams and shrieks. And there are also reportedly the ghosts of 2 women. One is called the Blue Lady, and one is called the White Lady. Obviously, because of their appearance. Now the Blue Lady has been responsible for several injuries in the castle. One example I can give. I can't remember the date that this happened, but I think it was sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. There was an American couple visiting the castle, looking around, and they I mean, you'll guess the ending of this before I get there, but they saw what they believed to be a member of staff dressed in a period costume beckoning to them, and sort of, you know, saying follow, not saying, but indicating that they should follow this woman. So they did, and they followed the woman down uh, a flight of stairs, which crumbled, and I think that the gentleman fell and hurt himself, and they came back out of the area and left the castle and complained, I guess at the visitor centre, complained that a member of staff had beckoned them down into a dangerous area, um, and they were told, well, we don't employ staff to do that. We don't have tour guides in period costume, um, and there are several people who have reported seeing a blue lady, who has beckoned to them in it and made indication that they should follow her, um, and obviously that's, I guess, supposed to be the blue lady. I can't say that. I mean, I visited the castle and had a good look round. I wasn't aware of all the stories when I went to the castle. I knew it was supposed to be haunted, but I didn't know anything of the history of it. I didn't see any blue lady, but I know somebody who visited the castle at night, and they said they saw a blue lady walking along the top of the ramparts. So whether that's true or not, or their imagination, don't know. Hey Tim, thanks for joining us, man. What's this? Oh, it's gone.
Sorry, I was just going to say hi to Tim, but I accidentally clicked on the next comment. I wanted you to finish speaking, but I just want to read it out now. Soda Culture says, a black cat fell from the rafters, smashed the glass, and the line from the Slayer song said, before you see the light, you must die. Song is South of Haven. Heaven, even. I can't read, clearly. Yeah, so my apologies there. I think there was a bit more to that, but I'll let you carry on saying what you were saying, because I was really intrigued by it. I was
So yeah, that was I mean, there are, if you look at Barry Pomeroy on Google and read some of the things that people have been saying, I mean, there are a lot of people reporting very similar things, that obviously don't know each other. So, you know, I think there might be something to it. Now, my own experience in the castle was quite alarming. Now, as I say, I didn't know any of the details of the hauntings before I went to the castle. I guess I was about 17, 18 or something when I went to the castle. I knew of the castle, and I knew it was supposed to be haunted, and I had heard stories, but I didn't know anything officially of the history. Now, if you look on the screen, those of you that are just listening to the podcast won't be able to see this, but on the right hand side of the screen, there is a photograph of one of the towers of the castle. Now, it goes down quite a bit further than you see in the picture, because the castle is built on a hill, and to the rear of the castle is like a valley, so it goes down quite a long way. Now, at the base of this of the tower that you can see there, is a dungeon. Now, apparently, what had happened, you know, hundreds of years ago, is there apparently there were. I keep saying apparently. For fuck's sake. Sorry. Sorry.
Did you just say an F word for the first time on a lane?
Did. I'm sorry. I do apologise. I got
so we've had trolls tonight, and we finally broke the. You've said fuck on here, haven't you? Oh, you sorry, naughty man. Boy.
Anyway, now there were two sisters. One was called Margaret, and I believe the other one was called Eleanor, but I might have got the second one wrong. But anyway, the story was that they both had designs on the same fella. They both liked the same guy, and Eleanor was deeply jealous of her sister Margaret, who she believed to be prettier than her, and she threw Margaret into the dungeon at the bottom of the tower you see there, and locked her in there. And Margaret starved to death in that location. This is how the legend goes. And anyway, I was visiting Berry Pomeroy, had a good look around, went here, there, and everywhere, and I came to what is called Margaret's Tower. Now, I knew that this was an area that was supposed to be haunted, but didn't really know much more about it. Now, I had a camera with me. Now, on the way to the tower, I took some photographs of the ramparts and of the view looking out over the ramparts. I also took some photographs of the stairs leading down into the dungeon. Now, bear in mind, this was a time when we used film in cameras, so it was an actual film that you put in your camera, and I had a battery operated camera that you would click the button, it would flash, and then it would turn on it would turn the film to the next bit. Now my camera was working fine. I had new batteries in the flash. There was nothing wrong with the camera at all. Took all the photographs, as I say, on the approach to the tower, no problem at all. I went down into the tower and down into the dungeon at the bottom, and had a little bit of a look around in there. When I got down there, I felt absolutely fine, but I'd been in there maybe 45 seconds, 60 seconds at the most, that I was in there, and I suddenly got an absolute chill. It was like the temperature in the room or in the basement just suddenly dropped. It wasn't a draft. It was a hot summer's day that I was visiting anyway, so the ambient temperature was fairly high anyway. But the temperatures, that the whole room just suddenly seemed to get really cold, and I felt quite uneasy. But because I like ghosts and these sorts of things, I like being spooked. I got a bit of a thrill about it, and I didn't leave. I stayed down there. Now, I took several pictures when I was down there, or at least I tried to, because every time I pressed the shutter of the button on the camera, instead of it flashing, taking the picture and winding the film on, it just went click and didn't do anything. And I tried this several times, maybe about 3 or 4 times. Click the button, the camera wouldn't work. I figured the batteries had died, and I was disappointed because I was hoping that I might be able to catch a ghost on camera. Anyway, this feeling of unease didn't leave me, and I got this strange feeling that I really wasn't wanted there. There was like a malevolent feeling. I can't describe it really, but it felt almost as if the dungeon itself didn't want me to be in it, that it wanted to be empty. I didn't feel a ghostly presence. I didn't see anything, and I didn't hear anything, but I just definitely felt unwelcome. So I was only down there for about maybe 3 minutes maximum, looking about, and it's not a big dungeon. So I went back up to the top of the stairs. Now, then when I got to the top of the stairs, I turned around and I thought, well, I'll just try my camera again, and I'll get one last picture. If the batteries last, I'll get one last picture of the stairs. Took a picture of the stairs. The camera worked absolutely fine, no problem. The camera worked for the rest of my trip around my look around the castle. Didn't think much more of it. Now, then I went to when we left the castle, there was like a gift shop, souvenir shop or whatever, that was in on the outside of the castle. And I went in there and I bought a little book about Berry Pomeroy Castle. And I was flicking through it, and it said in the book that photographic equipment often goes wrong in tower, in Margaret's Tower, that they said that the BBC had been there to film and their equipment hadn't worked in there, or their equipment had malfunctioned in there. And I got a bit of a chill when I read this, because I thought, oh my goodness, that my camera didn't work when I went down there. That's really weird. Now, I sent the film off to get developed. Now, back in the day, when you would get your film back, you would get all your photos back in order, so you could see, what order they were taken in. They would come back to you in that same order. And I was going through the photographs, and so there were the photographs from the top of the ramparts, photographs of the Margaret Tower, and then there were 3 photographs in the middle of the stack, and they had orbs on. The prints were completely black, but there was an orb in each one, like a golden sort of, like an orb. And I know what you were saying earlier on about it being dust motes, or dust on the camera, but they were in different, on these 3 photographs, the orbs were in different places on each one. So if it was a dust fragment on the lens, I'd have had 3 the same, but I didn't. They were in different places. And then after these 3 photographs, then were regular photographs again. So they came back in. When they came back to me, I could see what actually had been captured on film when I thought nothing had been captured. I didn't hear the camera wind on the film. So I can't explain why there were those 3 photographs with orbs on, because there should have been nothing, because the camera didn't work. So
that
was weird.
Man.
So that was weird. And yeah, it's widely regarded as one of the most haunted locations in Britain. So if ever any of our UK listeners are ever down in Devon, I know sometimes, Nick, you go down to South Devon.
Every year for holiday. I love that way. Paynton, I go there without fail.
It's very close to Paynton. It's
I'm going to go check it out.
Go and check it out. Go down in Margaret's Tower. I mean, obviously, when I went, we didn't have mobile phones and these sorts of things. So go down, check it out, see what you think. You never know. You might spot something. You might catch something on camera.
I'm definitely so we're going to Paynton this summer for a week, so I'm going there. We're always looking for things to do. Right. First thing I want to say, because I know she's only going to be here briefly, because she shouldn't be here by rights, is Emma C has actually made an appearance all the way from Italy.
Hello, Emma.
Hello, Emma. She said, I won't be able to make it because I'll be in Italy, so I just want you to see this. We prepared this for you earlier, Emma. Si mangia ma verde. That's the worst Italian you ever hear. Special friend, you are missed. So I think that means, Emma, you're missed. I think. I don't know. Anyway, you've missed some hijinks this evening, but I want to jump back to the comments, because I tell you what, mate. Where is it? People have been absolutely loving your storytelling. So first things first, you get a round of applause, because people are like, G-Force was like, I don't know why, but I'm here it is. Dave is a good storyteller, or what? I'm captivated.
Thank you. I mean,
Soda Cauldron says,
try.
It's just like Jack and Ori, G-Force. Yeah, mate. When do I ever shut up? Mate, so yeah. Wow, what a story. That was awesome, man. I absolutely love that. While you were doing it, I did bring up the castle's website for people if they wanted to see it, along with a Google search. Thank God I didn't bring up some of the other stuff in my Google search history.
I mean, if you can bring stuff up on the fly, there are, I think if you search Berry Pomeroy ghosts, and I think maybe the second or third link down, there is a page where people have submitted photographs that they've taken at Berry Pomeroy. Some of them, or in fact most of them, they didn't know that anything would turn up on the film. They were just taking random snaps, and have caught things on camera. But I mean, I would urge people to go and check that out for themselves.
I absolutely can bring up stuff on the fly. So there's some pictures there. I don't. Hopefully you can see this. I'm now operating blindly because I can't see the StreamYard screen and this.
Oh.
But if I click on this image here, hopefully this will give you an idea. I think this may possibly be what you're talking about ghosts in inaccessible windows and whatnot. So
yeah. There are a lot of photographs that were taken at Berry Pomeroy that are quite spooky.
There's some crazy stuff there, man. And yeah, I just do you mind if I just hit back on some comments? We've been having comments all the way through. People have been. I tell you what, guys, thanks for showing up in force tonight, because you're always great in the chat. You absolutely are. I just to comment that Soda Cauldron. We used a Ouija board as kids, and we contacted Lilith, in law. This is Satan's wife. We were listening to Slayer at the time, and when we asked when we would die, story continues. Okie dokie. Gerard says, one of our mighty mods, if it allows me to click the comment, saw a YouTube short describing famous story reported in Ireland during the 70s. Fog rolled into a town late one night, multiple sightings of the undead throughout the night. Following morning, the local graves had been upturned. Apparently this story was big news throughout all of Europe. That's nuts, man. That's a bit spooky. G-Force, where are we? G-Force. I'm sorry, G. I've lost your comment. It is just literally jumped. The comments are so hard to keep up with because quite a few. MSE says, sounds super awesome. I'd love that experience, something like that. Well, Emma, you're coming down in the summer, so let's all, you, me, Carla, and your better half. Let's go and check the castle out. That's creepy as hell, but amazing. I'm sorry I lost your comment, G. The comments keep jumping, but
I'll see if I can find it.
Let me have a little look through, because there were a few. Hang on, I think I'm getting there. Where? Oh, here it is. Oh no, my apologies. I've said all of that. It's basically G-Force and Stu Universal talking about. It's G-Force talking about how these experiences are ones that he's been told or he's experienced, and they're talking about basically how it's difficult to believe until you've experienced it. So, but and G is agreeing. So. It's and that's the thing. If you've not experienced this stuff, it can be quite difficult. I'm always very open-minded to anything and everything in life, 100% of the time, because people's experiences. The thing is, this is the supernatural. It's not common normal stuff, is it? So this stuff is crazy, and to step outside the confines of normal life and the things we know to be absolute, to branch our minds into the unknown, and the more fringe stuff, it's crazy. Hello to Manga Fangadanga, our Sai. He says, where do ghosts buy their clothes? At a boutique. I'll get my coat.
Oh dear.
Love it.
You go on.
No. You carry on, Monkey Boy. What have you got there, mate?
Reading movies is just saying he wonders if I remember doing a Ouija board at the top of the field in high school. I vaguely do remember that, actually. Reading movies and I went to high school together. I do vaguely remember doing a Ouija board. Did we do it with Claire? I remember doing a Ouija board with Claire at one point, and I wonder if it was that time. Yeah, we've had loads of comments. Do you want to go through some more, or do you want me to?
I tell you what, you go through the comments you've seen, and I'll try and locate them. But if they don't come up on screen, Monkey Boy will read them out anyway. Okay.
Well, I'll pick up from I'll pick up from there anyway. let's have a look. Soda's saying that as a kid, he always had a recurring sleep paralysis nightmare, where there was a shadowy, slim figure in his room, and he had a broad-rimmed hat on. Yeah, I've had sleep paralysis a few times, and I remember being very young, and I don't know if this happened or if I was just imagining it, but I remember waking up one night and looking, and there was a dark figure at the bottom of my bed, and I closed my eyes and buried myself under my duvet, and I was awake for the rest of the night. I didn't sleep a wink the rest of the night. I was absolutely petrified. I don't know if I just imagined it or not.
Just to come back in for reading movies, you asked him a question. He says, yes, Claire Louise with red hair and Terry might have been more of us. Re the Ouija board thing you did at high school.
Yeah.
So if I could just briefly touch on sleep paralysis. So I get sleep paralysis very frequently. It's something I absolutely hate. And Carla knows, my wife knows, that if she can hear me murmuring, wake me up, because quite often the only way I can describe this is my mind is fully awake, but my body is asleep, and sometimes it affects my breathing, and it is really it's the worst thing. I hate it. I absolutely I don't wish this on anyone, even to the point I asked the doctor about it. He's like, you're fine, it's something that happened to your brain and this, that, the other. But sometimes I'll be led there and I'm literally going, wake up. But I'm not saying that. But Carla will hear me murmuring, fighting like crazy to wake up, because I'm awake, but I can't move my body. It is awful. No. I absolutely hate it. Actually, I say I get it quite frequently. Touch wood. I haven't had it for a couple of months, but I hate this experience. This has been the bane of my life since I was a child. This is something I get so often, and it scares the shit out of me every single time. And it's horrible. And at a point when I was a kid, I didn't want to go to sleep some nights because I was so scared of this happening. It's
do you want to know something really, really weird?
Absolutely.
I wish that happened to me, and do you know why? Because the state that you've mentioned, where your mind is awake but your body is asleep, is a very, very good starting place to have an astral projection, to have an out-of-body experience.
Okay.
It's something I've had a lot of experience with, and I haven't mentioned it tonight because I don't really think it's ghostly or paranormal. But I've been having astral projections ever since I was a kid. I've had them a lot, and
I really don't enjoy it at all.
No, I've experienced that a lot. But that state of being where your body is asleep and your mind is awake is something I would often strive to achieve, because it's the exact, they are the exact prerequisites you need for an astral projection.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Sleep paralysis is no joke.
I just want to bring up Stu's comment. He says, I've had sleep paralysis, and yes, it's scary as hell. My mind is awake, but my body won't move. That's exactly it. And I've looked into it before, and there's text through history of people have had this since people have existed. And people, there's pictures in old medieval stuff of demons sat on people's chests, pinning them down. There was I think some people thought that there was a demon pinning them down, and because this is exactly what I'm doing when this hits me. It's like I'm fighting. It's like Carla said sometimes I can get my leg kicking when I'm doing it. I can get myself kicking my leg. Right, or I can get a body part moving, and that's the code. If you ever see me in that state, just shake me, wake me up, because I can't. If you've never had it, unless you want to experience it, I hate it. It's horrible. Yeah. It's so horrible.
It's scary if you don't know what's happening. And I've had it a couple of times and have been quite scared. But I've also tried to induce that feeling quite a lot as well when I've been trying to astrally project. It certainly is quite an unsettling feeling if you're not expecting it and you haven't planned on it. I would often go to bed hoping that I would have an astral projection, and if I would find myself in that state, I would then use that as a kind, not a springboard, but as a kind of as a threshold from which to start an astral
I mean,
projection.
perhaps a conversation for another time, because we don't really have the time to go into it. But
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
intrigued to know how one would astral project from that state. Something we can maybe we can touch upon it on another show, because look, I don't know if you've figured this out, guys. We will talk about absolutely anything on here. The last episode was about gladiators. One before that, we spoke about crisps. You know, tonight we're talking about the paranormal. The first episode was about puppets. You know, we don't give a shit what we talk about. Like, so, and I know what the next subject is, and the next subject's completely left field of everything again. So, we don't care. Just to jump onto Stu's comment here, I wouldn't recommend it, Monkeyboy lol. Well, Monkeyboy, he's a guy who wants it. Jumpy McClunky says, yes, happened to me once. I actually sat up from being asleep and awake, but couldn't move any part of my body. I know that I don't believe this to be paranormal myself, but yeah, I don't mind going down this route of conversation. This is live and moderately entertaining. The conversation goes where it goes. And certainly driven by, and Soda Cauldron, you cruel, cruel, cruel person, puts 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And G-Force responds with, if it ever allows me to show the comment, well, G-Force put, free for better lock your door. StreamYard's doing all manner of mischief tonight. It's not allowing me to bring stuff up. Oh my goodness. And Jumpy responds with 5, 6, grab your Weetabix. But no, so I kind of feel, just to jump back, because I've got the slide, I'm not going to go deeply into it now because there's no need. Obviously, ghosts have massively impacted on media. It's a popular thing, and this is just free. I've picked 3 examples of films in the ghost sphere that are very popular. We've got Poltergeist from 1982, scary as hell film, but I love it. Mm-hmm. The Ghostbusters from 1984, and a film I actually love. I love this film, Ghost, from 1990. Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, fantastic film. All very different ideas of what ghosts are. The thing is with these shows, I always come in with so many notes. I probably touch on 5% of what I've got. But, you know, Poltergeist, I mean, if you watch the film Ghost, if you haven't seen it, why haven't you seen it? But in that film, Patrick Swayze essentially learns how to become a poltergeist, which is interesting. Yeah. So I'm not going to go too deep into films. We all know films. If anyone in the comment section now wants to list their favourite ghost movie, please do. And hopefully I can bring some up. No worries if you don't want to do that. G-Force comes straight in with no Casper the Friendly Ghost, but we already established earlier this evening that we think he's a fraud. So, but ghosts is everywhere. It's such a popular thing in the world. People love a good ghost story, be it via the medium of TV, film. These days, well, I say these days, books have been around since like a long time. I sound so dumb when I say that. But people have been telling, I sound really thick when I say that, don't I? People have been telling ghost stories since the dawn of time, man. It's always going to captivate people. The unknown is captivating. The unknown, as human beings, I think we're always going to strive for the unknown. Because let's face it, it's the whole human experience is a scary experience. We all live with day-to-day anxiety. We all live knowing that one day the very essence of who we are, nothing is permanent in this experience. So perhaps we all hope, I can't say we all, but there's what's next. Is there anything next? And that's the thing. So the human experience is a scary, scary place. And all we can do is hang on to now, because we don't know what the hell there is after now. And I think that is why throughout history, from your religions to your ghost stories around the fireplace, to your works of fiction, to your movies, that's why I believe we're captivated, because we just truly don't have a definitive answer. And without that definitive answer, and I don't think we will ever have that definitive answer, because I'm not sure our science is directed in the right way.
Yeah.
And the question I would pose to you, Monkey Boy, is, would you want a definitive answer? If someone said to you tomorrow, I can tell you 100% yay or nay, there is or there isn't. I can tell you, but once I tell you, you know, would you want to know?
I think I would, yeah. Yeah, I'm quite scientific like that. I like to know. And I think it would be, I'd be very interested to hear the evidence either way. And if the answer was no, I would want to know why people have experiences, why these spooky things happen, and I would want to know what those things are. So I don't think the answer could ever be no, because I genuinely believe that people have had these experiences. I've had experiences.
We've all had them.
Yeah. There must be an explanation. Now, it might not be what we think it is, but there's got to be a reason. And I think what Reading Movies said earlier on about it possibly being explainable via sort of the quantum physics, or I think science might get there one day, but I think ghosts and that vape is really noisy, isn't it? Like, could you get a noisier one? Every time you
I've been muting all night.
That, I keep thinking that Darth Vader's walked in the room. It's crazy.
Right. Okay. So
like having a conversation with the Dark Lord of the Sith.
And to that, before I come back at you, Reading Movies says, do the Yoda impression, mate. You're better at this than I am. Luminous beings, are we? Not this
luminous beings, are we? Not this crude matter.
That was a terrible Yoda impression.
That was shit, mate. But
that was terrible, wasn't it?
Right. This
luminous beings, are we? Not luminous this beings.
No, I'm doing fucking. Oh, I swore again. I just said the F word. I was doing Kermit the Frog. You started it. You opened this floodgate, and now we're in a fuck fest, and it's all your fault.
Oh, dear.
We've never gone beyond shit or piss on this show, and you've ruined it. You've ruined me. You've broken me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But this vape is loud. I apologize. Editing the sound for the last episode of APC, I wanted to punch myself several times because it's very hard to bring that down in the mix. But it's. I think we're sort of at the end of the subject now. It's. Hello, Robert. How are you? But dude, what do you want? What do you want? You want to tell a ghost story? Robert wants to tell a ghost story. Robert, you've got 20 seconds, mate. Tell your ghost story. That is terrifying. That is. Well, thank you, Robert, for that. Thanks for popping along as usual.
Cheers, Robert. Thanks, man.
Bye, Robert, I guess.
See you later.
Well, yeah, that was a fantastic story. I'm just going to flick over the comments before we wrap tonight's show up. So many people have put so many great comments tonight. I say it every time. We've had some. I thought at the beginning I thought, oh, there's no one here, but you all showed up. You all rolled in. We've had some great numbers in tonight, and
thanks so much, guys.
You are fantastic at supporting us, and the chat has stayed engaged the whole time. Stu says the Poltergeist films were cursed. Lots of cast died during the filming of these films. They did that. You could do a whole episode on that. Yeah. What else have we got? G4 says 13 Ghosts was rad. Talking about ghost films.
Oh yeah.
It was a crazy film. I didn't even get into my notes of the supposed different types of ghosts. G-Force again says every human has energy, being somewhat empathetic. Oh, I can't read that bloody word, but Monkeyboy will correct me. I pick up on it quite a lot. Gerard comes in with a do or do not. There is no try. Jumpy says, great stream. Chat, everyone take care. So Jumpy's must have had to roll out, but thank you for joining us, Jumpy. So tonight, I've really enjoyed this evening. There's no doubt about it. There's been some. So what's gone on tonight? Let's summarize tonight. We've had a troll whose comment that came through. Thank you again to the mods. You guys did do great. And I appreciate you nipped it in the bud in the comment section, but unfortunately StreamYard doesn't get rid of it. But me and Monkeyboy had great fun with the troll. I had great fun. Did you have great fun with the troll?
I did. That was brilliant, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Any time, knobheads, come and have a spa. We really don't mind.
Not a problem.
You know, we couldn't care less. I've had a great time. I can't say as I've learned anything this evening. I've heard some great stories, and again, guys, you've been fantastic. So, Monkeyboy, are there any last words you want to say? Do you want to tell people where they can find you? I've made it easy for you this week, so you're not on the spot. I think I prepped you before.
Done. Well, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who's been in the chat, who's popped along and listened today. Thank you to those of you that are listening to this after the fact on a podcast platform of your choice, or again on the replay on YouTube. Thank you for checking that out. And yes, thanks, Nick. You've made it very easy for me, because if people want to find my channel or Skeletor's channel, you can find the links to both channels in the description of this video. So please do come along and give me a subscription, give Skeletor a subscription, and enjoy yourselves. Thank you so much.
And as ever, for the Action Popcast, please do check out the episode me and Kim did just a couple of weeks ago on MySpace. We had a great time doing that. There was some great engagement, so it's up there now. Please do go take a listen. Please check the video description out for the musical playlist I've put together for this episode, something I'm probably going to do for every episode going forward. We will be back in a month's time. If you're here, you know where you're at. If you're listening to this on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, come check us out live. You can see you can see the string bean and me. It's the string bean on substance. It's absolutely fine. I've had a great time tonight, and again, you've all been great. So I don't think there's much more to say other than, Monkeyboy, do you think we should wave really awkwardly at the camera until this thing ends?
I reckon we should.
Bye, guys. Bye. 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 Bye.